Hello, and welcome to the next Ditch Witch Diaries. Today, as you can see, it's just me. And so we're going to be talking about fruits, and we're going to be going back into stone fruits, and we're going to be looking at something really exciting this time. Here we go. Peach. It's peach. I love peaches. I love stone fruits. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about peach. Kitchen bewitchery fruits, the peach. I love a peach. You're a peach. I'm a peach. I love peaches. Prunus persica. So just like I hinted at, they're all prunus, right? So we talked about the cherries, prunus. Now we're Prunus persica. So this is the peach right here. And this is the botanical drawing from the peach. And that's AI, given it that's what a peach looks like. It's best. I love peaches. I even like the color of peach. And it's hard to create. That's why you got this bright pink, is because goodness gracious, trying to find good colors that match real things in nature is like a feat of nature. So the parts used: the leaves, the roots, the fruit, the branches, the pits for magic. You don't want to be eating the pits. We're going to talk about that. But you can sort of use them for magic. Other names, there's not very many: Persian apple and Momo. And we're going to talk about both of those when we talk about we're going to talk about both of those. We're going to talk about the lore, the stories, and the cultural import. And again, this is Prunus. So we're in the stone fruit genus, and I just love stone fruits. There's others. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about one of the others today. There are other Prunus. So the plant information. So again, this plant, like the cherry we talked about before, that originated in Asia. It came to Europe through Persia, and so that's why we see the name, the Persian. So we know that this fruit originated in China in about 6000 BCE in the Zhejiang province, and it appears in Japan around 4500 BCE, and then in India at 1700 BCE, and eventually the cultivation of peaches extends to Persia, which is Iran, and then Greece by 300 BCE. Today, peaches don't exist in the wild. So it may harken back to the early almond fruit forebearer. That's what we think, because we think like all of these have these same fruits that have this kind of almondy scent, and like again, like I was telling you about the peaches, or about the cherries. Peach foliage and pits contain hydrocyanic acid, which is a poison. It's cyanide. And you can smell bitter almond smell when you crush the leaves. Okay, and I don't know if I described this or I told this in the future, but I'll tell you again. So the cyanide, these stone fruits, in like the 70s, there was this treatment for cancer that didn't end up working. It was called Laetrile, and people would go down to Mexico to get Laetrile. And in fact, I know about this because my grandmother, who ended up dying from cancer, went down and received Laetrile treatments in Mexico for cancer. And they were made from these pits. And so that's Laetrile, if anybody wants to know. And the peach is the same fruit as a nectarine, but one has fuzzy skin and one has smooth skin. I was blown away by this. I did not know this. So interesting. We both all learned something different. So then in China, let's see, this is our first story, lore, stories, and cultural importance. In China, they use the branches to drive off evil spirits. And children in China wore pits, like a pit, a peach pit as a necklace to keep the demons away. Again, is this ward for evil spirits. There was also some sort of lock system around children's feet, which is an interesting thing, like a fetter. That seems to like be a little bit like the cherries that use the fetter pin It's a little interesting connection there. And the peach was mentioned in books of Confucius that were 5,000 years before Christ. It was mentioned. So it is believed to have more vitality in China. The lore about peaches is that this peach tree has more vitality than any other tree because the blossoms come out even before the leaves. Another thing in China is that peaches were eaten by the 8 immortals during an extravagant banquet called the Feast of the Peaches. And peach blossom land is the term used to describe a haven of peace in China. Peach blossom land. I love that. I want to live in peach blossom land. Okay, so China, there's so many stories here. So there's this story about pinto peaches. So these pinto peaches were said to be the type of peach that were grown by a heavenly queen mother of the West. I'm going to murder this. The Wangmu, Wangmu, and they were considered fruits of immortality. So little peaches. These pinto peaches were said to, they only ripened though every 3,000 years. And if you ate a pinto peach, you would be given 3,000 years of immortality. Or they were supposed to give you immortality or just 3,000 years of life. So one or the other, depending on the lore. But people have different stories in different places. So China continued. There's another story, which, hold on, this is going to bug me. So let me do that. There you go. Okay, so the story is the classic of the mountains and seas. So this is the story. There was a very large peach tree in Dushoa Mountain, whose branches, they formed this archway through which evil spirits could pass between the spirit world and the earth. So the Emperor of Heaven was concerned because he didn't want all these evil spirits running around and bothering people and stirring crap up, right? And so he assigned 2 brothers, Shentu and Yulei, to guard the passageway. And if the evil spirits caused any harm, the 2 brothers were instructed to tie them up and feed them to the tigers, which lived at the base of the mountain. So in honor of the 2 brothers' bravery, they became known as the door gods. And a tradition gradually developed to engrave their portraits in peach wood, which were then hung on gates and doors for protection from evil influences. Now, I didn't show you this, and should I dig it out? Let me see. Maybe I will. I'll dig this out. Let me see. I'm going to show. Let me see. Let me stop this video, and I'm going to pull this up, and then I will get back to you. So let me just stop sharing here. Okay, so let me see if I can share the screen with you. I want to show you the this is a peach. This is this is an engraving that was on it's a typical Chinese engraving on a peach pit. So it's a peach wood. So I wanted to show you. It doesn't have an image on it, but this one is for longevity and good fortune. So I did want to show you that one. And I think I have another one here. Let me stop the sharing. And yes, so this is the other one. This is about the ranking, and it's just another, I just wanted to show you it. Anyway, and we're back. So I just wanted to show you that that carving, engravings hung on, that's a peach wood engraving for protection and for longevity and everything. And they were hung on gates and doors, and that's kind of a common practice, and I wanted to show you those. So now you've seen them. So now let's go back to it. So in Japan, there's also stories. So the branches in Japan are used as divining rods. And this is where we get that name Momo that we told you about in the beginning. So it was called Momo after the hero Momotaro, or maybe the other way around. Like maybe Momotaro was named after the tree being called Momo. So he was born, it was said that Momotaro was born from a giant peach and was found by an old childless woman who was washing clothes in the river. And like Momotaro was floating down the river in his peach. And the woman and her husband were going to eat the peach, but then they found that there was a child inside the peach. Okay. And so, and that who explained that he had been given to them by the gods to be their son. Okay. So Momotaro was supposed to be his name because Momo is the word for peach and Taro is the word for the eldest son in the family. So some people called him Peach Boy. And also there's a festival called Hina Matsuri where peach blossoms and fruit are featured due to their banishing powers. That's like kind of another part to this in Japan, but that's the story of Momotaro and how Momo got his name is because he floated down the river in a peach in a Momo. And so he's the oldest boy. He's the peach boy. I love that story. Momotaro. So in Rome, it was brought directly from Persia to like Greece or Rome during the time of Claudius. And so this is where we get the other name, Persian apple. It was called Malus persica. So which is Persian apple. Malus is obviously apple. So we get that there. So then we go, Korea has obviously they have stories about the peach, right? So in Korea, the peach is a fruit of happiness, longevity, riches, honor. And they consider the peach tree to be immortal, part of this immortality we've seen, life and death, rebirth, immortality, right? In Vietnam, there are stories about the peach tree as well. So in Vietnam, a cherry branch is a symbol of victory, and it foretells coming peace after the battle. Another story is, and the story where you can see the picture there, is that lovers meet and fall in love under the peach tree. It's a symbol of spring in Vietnam, as why wouldn't it be? And the bonsai peach tree is a symbol used during New Year. You know what I saw a bonsai of recently? What did I see a bonsai of? Something so cool recently. It like blew me away. Bonsais. Oh, a mulberry, a bonsai mulberry. Oh my gosh, it was just spectacular. Anyway, we have the Japanese gardens down in Balboa Park. And they have sometimes they have some festivals with bonsai, and I highly recommend people go down and enjoy the bonsai if that's something you're interested in or you're drawn to. I am. So Egypt, lore, story, and cultural importance in Egypt. So it is in Egypt, the peach was offered to the god of tranquility. In Germany, it's said to be an aphrodisiac with magical powers. And why wouldn't it be? Because the peach is such like it's a little bit sexual, like the cherry. It has like a little bit, especially in pop culture, if you think about it, there's a little bit sexualization going down there. So, and maybe that's where we get it, is this whole German kind of aphrodisiac, and kind of maybe the Germans were the first people that were like, all peach. Anyway, so in America, it was brought by Spanish explorers. So again, this is this was not here before Spanish explorers. Peach is from another continent. The correspondences. The deities are Venus, Kami, Aphrodite, Freya, Z, who is the divine queen mother of the West. The element is water. The planet is Venus. And again, we see this water Venus thing that's with the fruit and with the stone fruit, especially the prunus. So I like it. And then the Aries Sagittarius, interesting little thing there. And I think that there is like a lot of, you know what, I don't know if I like it for the fieriness of that. I'm not as convinced about the fieriness of this as I was about the cherry, but I mean, I would like to hear somebody out on it. I'm kind of Yeah, it's hard for me to see this fiery little bit, but okay. Magical properties. I kind of almost like it for Scorpio, which is weird because of life and death and like the, I don't know, maybe. So the goddess symbolism, again with the Vijay, like we can't even go on. Like like when you hit that peach emoji, what you're doing, okay? Um, and it's connected with the goddess, and it's connected with the divine feminine all over the place from its inception in Asia all the way through. It's connected with the divine mother. So go figure. It's not just, it all translates all the way down into our emoji. I don't know if that's a direct connection, but it is. It's kind of like, we're all talking about this feminine and the mother and Venus and water and yeah. So also exorcism, it's said to ward evil. So we heard about that with the peach pit necklaces even. Like, and also it was made into weapons because it was thought that if you had a weapon that was made out of peach wood, that it was not only a weapon but a ward of evil for the opposing people, right? It would ward them away. Love. Okay, peach cobbler. If you want to woo your lover, make some peach cobbler. That's some southern shit. I love peach cobbler, okay, but I'm telling you, that's some southern shit. I don't know how many people around me are making peach cobbler to woo anybody. Fertility, longevity, and wisdom. Remember all that immortality. And when you talk about immortality and longevity, like we've mentioned before, you often conflate this idea of wisdom, okay? The saguaro cactuses. Once I get one wisdom thing, or ginkgo biloba, like wise. So for peaches though, you can dry peach tree leaves and crumble them into wisdom or concentration oil, and to help if you want to pass the test, and then probably anoint yourself or anoint the pencil or anoint something, right? Carry a piece of peach wood will lengthen your life and may even, not it might even make you, especially if you have those special peaches, right? If you have those special peaches, then maybe 3,000 years, right? Okay, more magic. Wishes. And I like things that are for wishes, okay? Because I think I look at wishes a little bit differently than other people. Like, I look at them as like you're throwing your wish. If you do it right, your wishes can be very magical. You could be throwing your pebble into this universal stream, and it could have reverberations all over the place. Wishes can be very powerful. So now let's look at its symbolism. The symbolism of peach. So the actual peach is a symbol of bridal hope and generosity, happiness, peace, riches, especially for young brides. The peach blossom, means captive. I am yours. I am your captive. Longevity, long life, my heart is yours. Two different things. Protection. And I mentioned that I love flower symbolism, and I like that show with Sigourney Weaver that I can never remember the name of, and I have to look up every time on Amazon Prime. But it was really good, and it was about, part of the goodness of it was this whole thing about the different language of flowers, which is what's very fascinating to me. So protection. So carved peach pits are often women's protection. We saw this. You can use peaches as a wand. So we looked at them. They were used as divining rods. These are very powerful. We see them early on being used very powerfully for magic. So it's also, peaches are about truth. So that immediately makes me think of the throat chakra, first of all. So a union, which then makes me think of speaking your vibrant truth, and maybe they should be associated with some air sign or something. Anyway, the union of heart and tongue. So when leaf is attached to the peach, it's supposed to be like when you see a peach and there's still a leaf attached, that's the union of heart and tongue, so which equals truth. It's also associated with friendship. So if you give a peach, you're supposed to give a peach to sweet friends, and saying you're a peach because you're supposed to give this gift to people that you like. So you're a peach is like part of that. You're supposed to give the gift. You're a peach. So now we're into the medical things. And there's not very much medical things because we're eating peaches all the time, right? So, and we're not eating those pits, right? Probably one pit isn't going to hurt you, although I'm not recommending anybody have any pits. I recommend you not. And plus you could choke. Geez, the pits are huge sometimes. So anyway, and you don't want to, they're all like, they're rough. I don't want don't mess with the pits. That's my best advice. So anyway, medical properties, it's anti-halitosis. That's a breath freshener. Peaches, astringent, cooling nervine, a demulcent, a diuretic, an expectorant, a febrifuge, a parasiticide, a sedative, an anti-inflammatory. I'd probably add a laxative in here. I think peaches just in themselves are very laxative. We're going to talk about that. I think I said it in here, but if I didn't, it's very, like, if your kid, this is a great one for children. If your kid, like, is having trouble going to the bathroom or feels constipated, very often I'm giving them some like what's it called? Some like even canned peaches, or those peaches in like the peach like little cup will relieve them of their constipation. So cough, you'll see wild cherry bark used in cough a lot, like in remedies for bronchitis, whooping. Oh, that's cherry, but also apparently the peach bark. That's funny. See how they're very related. Prunus, they're stone fruits are very related. So the bark can be used in bronchitis and whooping cough, just like we talked about cherry. Interesting. I did say it. So again, with whooping cough, like I mentioned before, you're going to give it to a kid. If you got whooping cough, please stay away from children because they may not be vaccinated. And we get unvaccinated. If you didn't know that, like around like middle school, like you lose your vaccination. You have to be revaccinated for whooping cough. And a lot of us adults didn't do that. They didn't know it until like my kids were in like middle school. And my kids are like 28. My oldest one is. And so, so like you could get whooping cough again is what I'm saying if you weren't vaccinated later, had a whatever that re-up or what booster, that's the word. If you didn't get a booster, then whooping cough is you could get whooping cough, and then you need to not give it to children who haven't been vaccinated because they could die. I think how many times I'm going to say that. Anyway, stomach, gastritis. It's good for gastritis, laxative, just like I said. So like it's very good laxative. It's also good for nausea and vomiting and morning sickness. And some of it's funny because if you can introduce a little bit of sweetness, that can alleviate morning sickness a lot too. Just a little bit of sugar, raising your sugar level really can alleviate morning sickness and isn't a stress on your baby or anything. So that's a good little hint. And also expelling worms. So because it is a little bit of a laxative, I think anything that's a little bit of a laxative is going to help you expel these worms, but also the leaves. So if you take them either internally or it's said it's a poultice, you can help expel worms like parasiticide or what's that other we just had that other, there's another anti something. Anyway. It's also, the peaches are full of selenium. So there you go. And these are my resources for peaches, and I hope you enjoyed them. Let's like stop sharing here. You can look at this. Lots of fun peach stuff. And I hope you just enjoyed me today. And the next couple weeks are going to be unusual. So I just want to give you a heads up. Next week, we are going to have a I may give you another one this week because I like to give about 3 a week. But we're gonna have a friend come and talk to us next week about rue. Very exciting. And then the week after, I'm gonna have a friend come on and they're gonna talk to us about botanical drawings and something else. I forgot. Oh, baneful gardens in general, having a bane garden in general. So I'm very excited because that's another thing I'd like to do is baneful herbs, like a whole thing on baneful herbs. So I'm very excited, and I will see you the next Ditch Witch Diaries.